Listen to me. Some of you sitting here right now watching this on your phone, on your laptop, maybe at 2:00 inches the morning because you can't sleep. You have no idea that heaven literally paused because of something you did. And you did it in less than 5 seconds. I'm not talking about something big. I'm not talking about giving away your house or fasting for 40 days. I'm talking about that one quiet thing you did when nobody was looking. That small choice. That whispered yes. You think nothing changed. You think it was too small to matter. You think God barely noticed, if he noticed at all. But let me tell you what happened in the unseen realm. When you did that one thing, God smiled. Not politely, not like a distant judge checking off boxes. He laughed with joy. It was like all of heaven hit the pause button just to replay that small moment in slow motion. Like security cameras in the spirit realm zoomed in and said, "Rewind that. Watch it again." Angels stopped mid-flight. The enemy went silent. And the Father, the Ancient of Days who spoke galaxies into existence, he leaned forward on his throne and he celebrated you. Not because you finally got it all together, not because you became perfect, but because you finally believed him more than you believed the lies. That 5-second decision broke a 40-year cycle. You don't see it yet, but it's already done. If something in you is already stirring right now, if your spirit is saying, "This is for me, don't you dare click away," type in the comments, "I'm listening, Lord." That's your first act of agreement. Right now, do it. Because before we finish today, I'm going to tell you exactly what that tiny decision did to your finances, your family, and your future, and why the next 40 days will not be like the last 40 years. Heaven is not done with you. In fact, it just got started. Stay with me. I need you to be honest with me for a second. How many of you sitting here right now have whispered this to yourself in the middle of the night? "I'm too old to start over. I missed my chance. God's got bigger plans for younger people. I'm just here." You don't say it out loud. You'd never admit it in church. But alone when it's just you and the silence, you've thought it. You've spent your whole life doing little things, quiet things, faithful things, and you're still broke, still alone, still tired, still wondering if any of it mattered. Let me paint the picture I know too many of you are living. It's 2:00 inches the morning. You're sitting at the kitchen table under that one dim light. There's a stack of bills in front of you. Medical bills, utility bills, credit card statements you can't even bring yourself to open. You've prayed. You've tithed when you had nothing to tithe. You've believed God for breakthrough. And yet, here you are again. Same table, same stress, same sinking feeling that maybe, just maybe, you heard God wrong. Or worse, that he's forgotten you. Some of you have spent decades praying over children who walked away from the faith, grandchildren who roll their eyes when you mention Jesus. You've stood in the gap for families that don't even know you're holding the line, and the enemy whispers in your ear every single day. It didn't count. It didn't work. You didn't move anything. You've gone to church for 30, 40, 50 years. You've sung the hymns. You've served in the nursery. You've cleaned up after potlucks when everyone else went home. And still deep down you feel stuck, like a candle flickering in a hurricane, just trying to stay lit. Like a soldier who fought every battle and came home with no parade, no medal, no thank you. You look around and see younger people getting blessed, getting promotions, getting marriages restored, getting miracles. And you? You're still waiting, still believing, still showing up, but barely. Listen to me. The most dangerous lie the enemy has ever sold you is this: that your small obedience doesn't matter. That because it wasn't loud, it wasn't heard. That because it wasn't public, it wasn't powerful. That because you didn't get the testimony on Sunday morning, you didn't get the victory in the Spirit. That is a lie straight from hell. Let me take you to 1 Samuel 16. The prophet Samuel shows up at Jesse's house, looking for the next king of Israel. Jesse parades all his big, strong, impressive sons in front of Samuel. Every one of them looked like a king, and God said no to every single one. Samuel asked, "Are these all your sons?" And Jesse, almost embarrassed, said, "Well, there's the youngest, but he's out in the field watching sheep." David, the forgotten one, the overlooked one, the one doing the small, invisible job nobody else wanted. And God said, "That's the one." You hear me? God chose the one nobody was watching, the one doing the quiet work, the one faithful in secret. What if I told you that your smallest, most private moment of obedience moved more in the spirit than your biggest public sacrifice? What if I told you that the prayer you whispered at 3 a.m. when you couldn't sleep, the one nobody heard, the one you thought disappeared into the ceiling? What if that prayer shook the throne room of God? What if the decision you made last Tuesday to forgive when bitterness felt easier, to give when you had nothing left, to stand when collapsing felt safer? What if that 5-second choice broke a 40-year curse over your bloodline? You didn't see it, you didn't feel it, but heaven saw it, and God smiled. If that hits you somewhere deep, if your spirit is saying, "I need this to be true," then I want you to do something right now. Write this in the comments. Lord, don't let my pain be wasted. You're not just typing words. You're opening a file in heaven with your name on it. You're giving God permission to turn your hidden obedience into public testimony. Do it now, because in a moment, I'm going to walk you into the room in heaven where your hidden obedience is stored. Once you see that room in your spirit, you will never again call yourself small. You will never again believe the lie that you don't matter. You're about to see what God has been building with every tear, every prayer, every quiet yes you gave when nobody was watching. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change the way you see the rest of your life. Let me take you back to that moment. You were standing in your kitchen, or sitting on the edge of your bed. Maybe you were in your car, gripping the steering wheel so tight your knuckles turned white. And something rose up inside you. Rage. Bitterness. You were about to send that text, the one dripping with venom, the one that would burn a bridge you've been trying to rebuild for years. You were about to say yes again to the person who's drained you dry every single time. You were about to scroll right past that quiet whisper in your spirit that said, "Pray, stop and pray." But this time, you didn't. In less than 5 seconds, you made a different choice. You deleted the message before you hit send. You said no when your mouth had been programmed to say yes for decades. You stopped scrolling, you closed your eyes, and you whispered, "God, I need you." 5 seconds. That's all it took. And heaven exploded. Now I need you to understand something. The Bible says in Luke 15:10 that there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. But this wasn't just repentance. This was reversal. This was you breaking a pattern that hell itself had invested in for years. The enemy had studied you. He knew your triggers. He knew your weaknesses. He knew that every time life pressed on that one button, you would react the exact same way. But not this time. The moment you didn't send that angry text, the moment you didn't go back to that old toxic pattern, the moment you stopped and prayed instead of numbing out, God's face changed. It was like a judge who had been watching the same case for decades, seeing the same evidence, the same failures, the same guilty verdicts, and then suddenly, one piece of new evidence flips the entire trial. It was like a surgeon who had been standing over you in the operating room, scalpel in hand, waiting for your vitals to stabilize, waiting for the one sign that you were finally ready for the procedure that would save your life. And when you made that 5-second choice, The sign came. The vitals stabilized. The evidence appeared. And God smiled. Let me paint this for you, because I saw it in the Spirit. God leaned forward on his throne. The weight of eternity shifted, and he said, with a joy so deep it shook the foundations of heaven itself, "They finally did it. That's my child. That's my warrior. Not because you were perfect, not because you had it all figured out, but because for the first time in a long time, you believed him more than you believed the lie. You trusted his voice more than the scream of your flesh. You chose his way when your way had always led to destruction. And beloved, do you understand what that does in the spirit realm? Proverbs 16:32 says, "He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city." You didn't conquer a nation, you conquered yourself. And in God's economy, that is the greater victory. Because when you rule your spirit, you shift atmospheres. When you break a 40-year cycle in 5 seconds, you don't just change your life, you change your lineage. Your children will inherit a freedom they never had to fight for. Your grandchildren will walk in a blessing they didn't have to beg for, because you finally said no to the thing that had been saying yes through your bloodline for generations. If you've ever felt even once that you broke a pattern, I need you to do something right now. Write in the comments, "I choose differently now." Don't just read this. Don't just nod your head. Type it, because when you declare it, you're putting a seal on what God already saw. You're agreeing with heaven, and agreement releases authority. Now let me show you what happens behind the scenes when God smiles like that. There is a room in the spirit realm, and your whole life is stacked in there. Every prayer you prayed that you thought went unanswered, every tear you cried that you thought went unnoticed, every seed you sowed in silence, every act of obedience when no one was watching. It's all been recorded, it's all been stored. And the moment God smiled, he turned to the angel standing at the door of that room and said one word, "Release." Now let me take you somewhere most Christians have never seen. Close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture this with me. There's a room in heaven. It's massive, endless, the kind of space that makes you feel small but not forgotten. The walls stretch higher than you can see, lined with shelves carved from light itself. And on those shelves are scrolls, books, records, millions of them. Each one has a name written across the spine. And somewhere in that room, beloved, there's one with your name on it. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not the list of everything you did wrong. This book is different. This book records every single act of obedience you thought nobody saw. Every time you forgave when you had every right to be bitter. Every time you held your tongue when you could have destroyed someone with your words. Every time you gave when you had nothing left. Every time you prayed through tears at 3:0 inches the morning and thought God wasn't listening. It's all written down. Hebrews 6:10 says it plain. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him. Let that sink in. He will not forget. The scripture talks about a book of remembrance written before the Lord for those who fear his name. Malachi 3:16. That's not poetry. That's documentation. That's heaven's filing system. And nothing you did in secret has been lost. Some of you have been faithful for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. You've raised kids who walked away. You've stayed in a marriage that felt like a desert. You've worked jobs that never appreciated you. You've prayed for people who never said thank you. You've sown seeds in silence while others got the applause. And you wondered if any of it mattered. Let me tell you what heaven sees. Your life is like a long receipt of faithfulness, and heaven has never lost the paperwork. Every no you whispered to temptation when nobody was around, recorded. Every dollar you gave when your account was almost empty, written down. Every night you chose to worship instead of curse, documented. Every moment you resisted bitterness, chose kindness, stood in faith when doubt screamed louder. It's all there, line by line, act by act, year by year. You think you're just an old man, an old woman who didn't do much. But heaven sees a warrior who kept swinging even when the battle felt endless. Here's what you need to understand. All those quiet acts of obedience weren't just spiritual exercises, they were deposits. They were weight being added to the scales. Every single one of them carried eternal mass. And for years, decades, maybe you've been building something in the unseen realm that your natural eyes couldn't measure. But when you made that decision last week, that small choice that felt like nothing, it wasn't just one more line in your file. It was the line that tipped the scale. Think about it. You've been filling a cup for years, drop by drop, tear by tear, prayer by prayer, and nothing seemed to overflow. You kept giving, kept believing, kept standing, and the cup just kept filling in silence. But last week, you added one more drop, and the whole thing spilled over. That's what happened in the spirit. Heaven didn't smile because you finally did something big. Heaven smiled because you completed the set. You finished the process. You crossed the threshold. The scale tipped. The book closed. The seal was set. And now, right now, something has unlocked. Put your hand on your chest for a second. Say this out loud. God remembers me. Say it again. God remembers me. Now type it in the comments. Let your body, your mouth, and your screen agree. Because when all three align, heaven moves faster. Do it now. Because when that scale tipped, something shifted in the realm of provision, protection, and divine timing. Actually, 4 things unlocked. And some of you are already feeling the first one in your bank account. You got a check you weren't expecting. A bill got forgiven. A door opened that was shut last month. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. See, most people think obedience is about earning God's love. It's not. You already have His love. Obedience is about positioning yourself to receive what He's already released. It's about alignment. And after years of quiet faithfulness, you finally aligned with the frequency of breakthrough. You've been standing in the right place for a long time. But now, beloved, now you're standing in the right season. The book of your obedience is full. The archive is sealed. And what's about to be released into your life in the next 40 days will make up for every year you felt forgotten. So don't you dare give up now. Don't you dare think it's too late, because the room of hidden records just sent down the order. Release what's been held. And the 4 unlockings I'm about to show you, they're not theory, they're not spiritual fluff, they're real, they're biblical, and they're already in motion. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you next will explain why your phone's been ringing, why that person suddenly reached out, and why you've been waking up with hope you haven't felt in years. Heaven didn't just smile. Heaven responded. Let me tell you something most preachers won't say out loud. You've been faithful. You've been praying. You've been tithing when you had nothing left to give. And yet somehow you're still struggling. It's not because God forgot you. It's because there's been a leak, not in your budget, not in your bank account. I'm talking about a leak in the spirit realm, a slow, steady drain that you couldn't see but always felt. Random expenses showing up out of nowhere. The washing machine breaks the same week the car needs new tires. People borrowing money and disappearing like smoke. Old relationships demanding pieces of you that you don't even have left to give. You've been living with your hand over a hole, trying to catch water while it runs through your fingers. And you know what the worst part is? You thought it was you. You thought you were bad with money. You thought you made the wrong choices. You thought maybe God was punishing you for something you did 20 years ago. But listen to me carefully. When you made that 5-second decision, that moment when you finally said no to the old pattern, when you refused to go back into financial guilt, when you stopped saying yes to people who only show up when they need something, God closed a door in the spirit where the enemy used to drain you. Proverbs 21:20 says, "In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a fool's devours all they have." You weren't the fool. The fool was the system the enemy set up around you. A system designed to keep you broke, tired, and too stressed to step into your calling. But that door, it just slammed shut. It's like God reached over the sink of your life and tightened the faucet so the drip finally stopped. You've been trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. God just put the plug in. Now I need you to understand something about heaven's economy, because it doesn't work like Wall Street or your 401. God doesn't always send cash. Sometimes he sends ideas, sometimes he sends connections, sometimes he rearranges who has access to you and who doesn't. Obedience doesn't just change your heart, it changes where money lands, who can touch it, and how long it stays. You think breakthrough is always loud. You think it's $1 million check falling out of the sky. No. Sometimes breakthrough is waking up one morning and realizing the anxiety is gone. Sometimes it's a bill you forgot about that suddenly gets forgiven. Sometimes it's a stranger handing you a gift card at the grocery store and saying, "I felt like you needed this." That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. 2 Kings chapter 4. The widow came to Elisha with nothing but a jar of oil and a mountain of debt. The creditors were coming. Her sons were about to be taken as slaves. She had nothing left. But Elisha didn't give her money. He told her to gather empty jars, and that little bit of oil she had, it multiplied until every single jar was full, enough to pay her debts, enough to live on. God didn't change her circumstances first. He changed her obedience. And when she obeyed, heaven released multiplication. That's what just happened to you. You obeyed in that small moment. And now God is about to multiply what you thought was empty. Within the next weeks and months, many of you will see this. Surprise discounts you didn't ask for, unexpected checks in the mail, debts forgiven that you thought would follow you to the grave, opportunities you didn't chase suddenly chasing you. That's not luck. That's a leak God just sealed. But here's what I need you to do right now, and I mean right now. If your finances have felt like a constant leak, if you've been wondering why nothing ever sticks, if you've been faithful and still felt forgotten, I want you to write this in the comments. Lord, seal every leak. Don't just type it. Say it out loud in your living room. Let heaven hear it. Let hell hear it. Let your bank account hear it. Because when you speak it, you're not begging, you're declaring. You're coming into agreement with what God already did when you made that decision. Your breakthrough isn't coming. It already started. But money is only the first door. The second unlock is the one that hurts the most and heals the deepest. I'm talking about relationships, the ones that broke you, the ones that left you, the ones you've been carrying like chains around your heart for years. And what God is about to do there, it's going to shock you. Stay with me. Now let's talk about something that cuts deeper than money. Let's talk about the people who left you. I know some of you are sitting there right now and your chest just got tight, because I named the thing you don't talk about at Sunday dinner, the thing you smile through at church but cry about when you get home. Family members who won't call you back, grandchildren who barely know your voice, friends you had for 30 years who disappeared like smoke the moment you started walking differently. And here's the part that hurts the most. You don't even know what you did wrong. You keep replaying conversations in your head. You keep wondering if you said something, if you were too much, if you weren't enough. You lie awake at 3:00 inches the morning asking God, why did they leave me? Listen to me carefully. That 5-second decision you made, the one heaven celebrated, it didn't just close a door to sin. It closed a door to counterfeit connections that were secretly draining the life out of you. You think you lost people? No, heaven removed them. Because not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. Some people were assigned to your season, not your destination. And when God shifts you into a new dimension, He doesn't ask permission to clean house. Proverbs 13:20 says it plain, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." God is not sentimental about protecting your future. He will remove anyone who would sabotage what He's building in you, even if it's family, even if it's someone you loved for decades. That's not cruelty. That's covenant. Let me say it another way. God is reorganizing the seating chart of your life. He's removing the furniture that keeps bruising you in the dark, so there's space for people who actually love you. Real people, godly people, people who see you the way heaven sees you. And I know that sounds good in theory, but right now it just feels lonely. You're sitting at a table that used to be full, and now it's just you and your coffee cup. You used to have a phone that rang. Now it's silent. You used to have people who needed you. Now you wonder if anyone even notices you're still here. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Loneliness is not punishment. Loneliness is preparation. God is making room. Room for the relationships that will actually sustain you. Room for the spiritual family that's already on the way. Room for the people who will honor what you carry, not mock it. Because some of you have been surrounded by people your whole life and still felt alone. You were in rooms full of noise but starving for real connection. You gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left, and nobody ever asked if you were okay. That season is over. God saw it. He recorded every tear. He counted every time you showed up for people who never showed up for you, and He said, "Enough." Psalm 68:6 says, God sets the lonely in families. Not keeps them lonely, sets them in families. That means new connections are already in motion. Divine relationships, people who will see you, hear you, and honor you. Not because you earned it, but because God handpicked them for this next chapter of your life. But here's the part that's going to mess some of you up. Some of you think you're being punished because people left. No, heaven promoted you, and not everyone had clearance to go where you're going. You can't carry eagles and chickens at the same time. You can't walk into your promised land dragging people who don't even believe it exists. God didn't remove them to hurt you. He removed them to protect what's coming. And I need you to hear this. The people who left didn't leave because you weren't enough. They left because you became too much for them to handle. Your light got too bright. Your faith got too bold. Your standards got too high. And instead of rising with you, they resented you for it. That's not your fault. That's their choice. So stop begging people to stay who have already decided to leave. Stop chasing relationships that God Himself is closing. Stop trying to fix what heaven is deliberately dismantling. Let them go. Bless them from a distance and let them go. Because while you've been mourning what left, God has been preparing who's coming. If you've lost people in this season but you're still here, still standing, still believing, write this in the comments right now. God, send only who you choose. That's a dangerous prayer. That's a holy prayer, and heaven honors it. Because God is not playing games with your future. He's building something that will outlast you, and He needs the right people around you to sustain it. We've talked money. We've talked people. But for some of you, the biggest change, the one you'll feel every single day, is happening in a place you can't ignore, your body. Now listen close, because I need to talk to your body for a minute. Not just your spirit, not just your mind, your actual flesh and bones that have been carrying you through decades of warfare you never signed up for. How many of you are sitting here right now with a body that hurts in places doctors can't explain? You wake up at 3 a.m. and your mind is already racing. Your chest feels tight for no reason. Your shoulders carry weight that has no name. You've been to specialists. They run tests. Everything comes back normal, but you know better. You feel it. That's because what you're carrying isn't medical, it's spiritual. And the moment you made that small decision, the one heaven celebrated, something shifted in your nervous system that science can't measure, but your body is about to confirm. Let me explain something most preachers won't tell you. Your body keeps score. Every betrayal you swallowed in silence, every fear you buried to protect others, every night you cried alone while everyone thought you were fine, your body recorded it. Your nervous system has been on high alert for so long, it forgot what peace feels like. Proverbs 14:30 says, "A peaceful heart leads to a healthy body. Jealousy is like cancer in the bones." Your heart hasn't been peaceful. It's been on the night shift for 40 years, standing guard, waiting for the next crisis, never resting, never trusting that someone else could hold the weight. But when you said yes to God in that 5-second moment, when you finally let go of what you'd been white-knuckling for decades, heaven didn't just celebrate, heaven sent relief. It's like your soul has been clenching its fists since 1985, and God is gently prying one finger open at a time. You're not going to feel everything shift overnight, but you're going to notice something strange in the coming days. Deeper sleep, fewer panic waves, a quiet you haven't felt in years walking into rooms that used to trigger you. That's not age, beloved. That's healing. See, when you finally said no to that old pattern, that toxic relationship, that addiction, that need to control everything, heaven said yes to a new level of rest over you. Your body has been screaming for decades, "When do I get to stop surviving?" And God just answered, "Now." Psalm 23:2 says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters." Did you catch that? He makes you lie down. But God is saying, "I'm clocking you out. Another crew is coming in. You've done your shift." This is why anxiety has been so high lately. This is why sleep has been so hard. Your body is trying to release decades of stored trauma, and it doesn't know how to do it without your permission. So I'm going to ask you to do something right now that might feel strange. Place your hand on your chest, right there. Feel your heartbeat, and whisper this out loud if you can, in your spirit if you must. "Lord, teach my body how to rest." Say it again. "Lord, teach my body how to rest." Type it in the comments. Let heaven see your agreement. Because over the next 40 days, you're going to notice things, small things. A knot in your back that's been there for years suddenly loosens. A heaviness in your chest that lifts during worship. Mornings where you wake up and think, "Wait, I actually slept." That's not coincidence. That's covenant. Your body is finally starting to believe what your spirit already decided. The fight is over. The war you've been in. And here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. When your body starts to heal, your calling starts to accelerate. Because all the energy you've been spending just trying to survive, that's about to get redirected into purpose, into assignment, into the very thing hell has been trying to keep you too exhausted to fulfill. You're not tired because you're old. You're tired because you've been carrying burdens God never asked you to lift. And the moment you put them down, heaven picked them up. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Renewal is already in motion. Your body may not look different yet, but something underneath, something deep in your cells, your bones, your bloodstream, is remembering what peace feels like. And that peace, it's preparing you for what comes next. Because there's one more unlock. And it's the one the enemy has fought the hardest to keep hidden from you. It's not your money, not your relationships, not even your health. It's your calling. And beloved, it's about to be unleashed. Now listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake everything you thought you knew about your age, your purpose, and what God has left for you to do. That 5-second decision you made, the one heaven smiled over, it wasn't just about you feeling better. It wasn't just about breaking a personal habit or resisting one temptation. No, that decision was heaven's signal. It was God saying, they're ready. Ready for what? Ready for the assignment you were born to carry. Chosen one, I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. Your age is not a disqualifier. Your age is your credential. The wrinkles on your face? Those are battle scars from wars you survived. The gray in your hair? That's wisdom the younger generation desperately needs, but doesn't even know how to ask for. You think you're too old? Moses was 80 when God called him to lead a nation out of bondage. Abraham was 100 when the promise finally showed up in his arms. Sarah laughed at 90 because she thought her season was over, but Isaac proved that God has the final word on your timeline, not a calendar. Listen to me. The Bible doesn't say, "Well done, good and faithful servant," until you hit retirement age. It says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Period. No expiration date. No age limit. No sunset clause. You've been in the waiting room for decades, sitting there, watching others get called, watching doors open for people half your age, watching the world move forward while you felt stuck in yesterday. But that little decision, that quiet yes you whispered when nobody was watching, that was the nurse opening the door and calling your name. Heaven's ready for you now. And let me tell you what your calling looks like. You are not here to fade quietly into the background. You are not here to watch TV until Jesus comes back. You are not here to live out your days wondering if you still matter. You are here to pray and shift entire atmospheres. You are here to mentor the younger generation that's drowning in confusion. You are here to break generational curses that have plagued your bloodline for 100 years. That's not motivational talk. That's prophetic truth. Proverbs 16:31 says, "Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life." A crown, chosen one, not a burden, not a sign that you're washed up. A crown that heaven itself places on your head because you survived what should have destroyed you. You didn't just resist temptation when you made that choice. You took your seat in the role you were born to play. Think about it. Every tear you cried in secret that was training. Every betrayal that cut you deep that was preparation. Every closed door, every disappointment, every night you laid awake wondering if God forgot your name. All of it was shaping you into the weapon heaven needed for this exact moment. You're not retired. You've been reassigned to a higher rank. The enemy has been terrified of this day. He's watched you for years, studied your weaknesses, thrown everything he had at you to keep you quiet, keep you confused, keep you thinking your best days were behind you. But when you made that decision, that small, seemingly insignificant choice, the entire kingdom of darkness went silent, because they knew, this one's awake now. And now, right now, heaven is rewriting your job description. You are the chosen one for your family line. You are the curse breaker. You are the one who will pray prayers that your great-grandchildren will walk in the answered version of 50 years from now. Exodus 20:6 says, "God shows love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments." 1,000 generations, chosen one. Your obedience today doesn't just affect you. It ripples forward into bloodlines you'll never meet in this lifetime. Heaven didn't just applaud your decision. Heaven reassigned you. The warfare you've been feeling? That's confirmation. The resistance, the exhaustion, the sudden attacks on your peace, That's not punishment. That's the enemy panicking because he knows what you're about to step into. You think it's too late? Anna the prophetess was 84 years old, a widow who spent decades in the temple, fasting and praying. And it was her, not the young, not the celebrated. It was her who recognized the Messiah when he showed up as a baby in Luke 2:38. Your age positioned you to see what others will miss. Your pain trained you to discern what others can't. Your endurance made you dangerous to the kingdom of hell. If you feel this burning in you right now, if something inside you is saying, "This is me, this is my moment," then don't you dare stay silent. Type it in the comments. I accept my assignment. Say it out loud where you're sitting. Heaven hears you, hell hears you, and your own soul needs to hear you. Because all of this, the smile of God, these 4 unlocks, the breaking of delay, the restoration of what was stolen, all of it sits inside a 40-day window that started the moment you made that choice. And what you do next determines whether you walk fully into it or let it slip through your fingers. Stay with me. Now listen to me carefully. What just happened in the spirit realm wasn't a moment of inspiration. It wasn't a motivational push to make you feel better for the next 20 minutes. What happened was a seal. Heaven stamped something over your life, and that seal carries authority. But here's what most people don't know, and this is where the enemy comes in fast. There is a 40-day window, 40 days where what God just unlocked is still forming, still hardening, still setting into permanent reality. It's like wet cement. The foundation is poured, but if you step back into old patterns too soon, you'll crack it before it hardens. The Bible is full of 40-day seasons. Moses on the mountain, 40 days. Jesus in the wilderness, 40 days. The flood reigned 40 days. Goliath taunted Israel 40 days. And every single one of those seasons was a testing ground between the old life and the new one. You are in that window right now, and the enemy knows it. He doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you long enough to lure you back into who you used to be. Because if he can get you talking like the old you, reacting like the old you, choosing like the old you, then the door God just opened will quietly close, and you won't even know why. That's his strategy. Not loud attacks, just whispers. Just old habits dressed up as comfort. Just familiar voices saying, "You don't really need to change that much." But you do, because this isn't about survival anymore. This is about transformation. And transformation requires 40 days of intentional decision-making. Let me be blunt with you. For the next 40 days, you need to guard 3 things like your life depends on it, because spiritually, it does. First, guard your tongue. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Not next year, not eventually. Right now, your words are either building the future God just released, or they're tearing it down brick by brick. No revenge speeches, no bitter rants about people who hurt you, no complaining about how long it took or how hard it's been. I know you've earned the right to be angry, but anger is expensive and you can't afford it right now. When bitterness tries to rise, bite your tongue. When the old rage wants to speak, stay silent. Let God defend you. Your job is to stay aligned. Second, guard your atmosphere. You cannot walk into a new season while feeding your mind the same chaos that kept you stuck in the last one. Toxic phone calls, toxic news cycles, toxic people who only call when they need something but disappear when you do. Cut it off. Not forever, just for 40 days. You need clean air to breathe. You need peace to think clearly. You need stillness so you can hear God's next instruction. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." You can't be still if you're drowning in other people's drama. Limit the chaos. Protect your peace. This is not selfish. This is survival. Third, Guard your daily decision. Every single day for the next 40 days, the old pattern will call you back. The old addiction, the old anxiety, the old way of coping. And when it does, pause for 5 seconds. Just 5. In those 5 seconds, whisper, "God, I need you here." That's it. That's the whole prayer. Because in that pause, you break the automation, you interrupt the cycle, and you give the Holy Spirit room to step in. Galatians 5:16 says, "Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." Walking by the Spirit doesn't mean you become perfect. It means you stay aware, you stay present, you stay connected. And here's what I need you to understand. This is not about perfection. You're going to slip. You're going to have bad days. You're going to say something you regret or fall back into an old fear. But when you do, don't camp there. Get back up fast. Heaven is not measuring your perfection. Heaven is measuring your trend. Are you moving forward or backward? Are you trying or quitting? One bad day doesn't erase 39 good ones. Think of it like this. You're walking across a narrow bridge from your old life to your new one. For 40 days, just keep walking. Don't look down at how far you could fall. Don't look back at what you left behind. Just keep your eyes forward and take the next step. This is spiritual rehab. Every day you choose differently, the new you gets stronger. Every day you resist the old pull, the new foundation hardens. And by day 40, you will not recognize your life. That's not motivational talk. That's a verdict in the spirit. If you hold the line for these 40 days, the next season will be unrecognizable. Provision will show up. Peace will settle in. Relationships will shift. Opportunities will open. Not because you hustled harder, but because you stayed aligned. Now, I need you to do something. If you're willing to commit to these 40 days, if you're willing to guard your tongue, your atmosphere, and your decisions, I need you to type in the comments right now. 40 days, Lord, I'm in. Type it. Let heaven see your agreement. Let the enemy see your resolve. And then share this message with one person who needs it. Become the messenger you yourself needed years ago. Because in just a moment, I'm going to pray over you. Not a soft, polite prayer. A sealing declaration that marks your house, your body, your finances, and your name in the spirit realm. But before I do, you need to be all in. Are you? Because of one small decision you made. Maybe it was forgiving someone who didn't deserve it. Maybe it was choosing hope when despair felt safer. Maybe it was whispering yes to God when everything in you screamed no. Heaven didn't just notice. God smiled. Heaven recorded it. And 4 massive unlocks were triggered over your life. Financial restoration, relational reordering, divine rest for your weary body, and the activation of your calling even at this age. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. But here's what most people miss. A smile from God is not just approval, it's a commissioning. It's heaven saying, you're ready now. Not because you're perfect, because you're finally willing. So before we close, I need you to do something with me. I need you to seal this moment, because what you agree with in your spirit right now will determine what manifests in your life over the next 40 days. I want you to repeat these words after me, out loud if you can. Whisper them if you must, but say them. Father, thank you for seeing me. Thank you that my small obedience moved heaven. Seal the financial leak in my life right now. Reorder my relationships according to your will. Teach my body to rest in you. Activate my calling, even at this age, even in this season. I receive the 40-day window of grace you've opened. I am not forgotten. I am not late. I am exactly where you need me to be. Do you feel that? That's not emotion. That's confirmation. That's the Holy Spirit bearing witness with your spirit that you are a child of God And if a child, then an heir. Romans 8:16-17. You didn't lose your inheritance when you got older. You stepped into the fullness of it. Let me tell you what's happening right now in the unseen realm. It's like God is taking a holy stamp, the kind they used in ancient times to seal royal decrees, and He's pressing it down over your life. Approved, sealed, mine. No devil in hell can break that seal. No person on earth can revoke it. No mistake from your past can erase it. Your story is not winding down. Your story is turning a page into its most powerful chapter. Because God doesn't waste the wisdom you've earned through decades of living. He doesn't discard the compassion you've developed through years of suffering. He sanctifies it. He weaponizes it. He releases it into the world as a force that cannot be stopped. There are people waiting for you who will never listen to a young preacher, but they'll listen to you. There are doors that will only open when someone with silver hair and a tested faith walks through them. There are prayers that heaven is holding, waiting for the voice of an elder who's been through the fire and came out still believing. That's you, while you sit there, maybe in a chair that's older than some of your grandchildren, maybe with a cup of coffee that's gone cold because you've been listening so intently. Heaven is standing. The King is smiling. And the verdict over your life is not retired or finished or too late. The verdict is, well done, I'm not done. God is not done with you. He smiled because the best part is just beginning. So here's what I need you to do right now. If this word is yours, if every syllable of it has been hitting your spirit like a hammer on an anvil, don't let this moment evaporate. Seal it. Type in the comments, God smiled over me. That's your covenant phrase. That's your agreement with heaven. That's you saying, I receive this, I believe this, I'm stepping into this. And listen, if you need more of these words in this season of your life, don't just disappear into the algorithm. Stay connected. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the like. Not for me, for you. So you don't miss the next time heaven has something urgent to tell you. Because God is speaking to His remnant right now, and you need to be where the word is flowing. One more thing. If someone's face came into your mind while you were listening, a friend, a sibling, maybe someone from church you haven't spoken to in months, don't ignore that. That's the Holy Spirit. Send this to them. Right now, you might be the reason heaven smiles over their next decision. You might be the hinge that swings open the door they've been beating on for years. God didn't bring you here by accident. He brought you here on purpose. And now He's sending you out the same way. Walk as one who has been smiled upon by the King of Kings. Carry yourself with the quiet authority of someone who knows they are loved, chosen, and commissioned. Let the world see what happens when heaven approves a life. Because when God smiles, everything shifts. And He just smiled over you. Now go.